Okay, it's going.
Okay. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about how we can do student engagement at Crossroads and kind of link out, get the community involved, and also to get parents involved. Our main goal, we're going to talk about student engagement, and we have two different things. We have constituent teams, which are all the people that kind of lead where we can make that gap, close that gap for education with those students and to the community. And then on this side I have community and school engagement. So we're going to take a look at our constituent teams. First we have our school board. Our school board, they're our connection to the community. They're the people that run for office. They're elected by our people here in Coppers Cove. And what they do is everything that they put in place will affect our teachers, it'll affect our students, it'll affect our administrators. And so with them being a big voice in the community, this is really who we need to turn to understand what we're trying to do here at Crossroads in order to make community grow in that. So data has shown that when students are more involved in community, their scores go up. So a lot of people are like, well, here the perception of Crossroads is let's get them in the door, let's get them out the door. When you look at the bigger picture, is if we do start adding this element, our data scores are going to go up, but students, everything is going to go up. So that means student safety, that means student achievement, college readiness, everything's going to start going towards one side or the other. So they're going to be our main voice. Our administrators, that's the next one's in line. That's where you all come in. Your school's limited to what they can accomplish. So when you're given a budget, you can only do so much. And when you look at Crossroads, some things that are here, you know, you're given this budget and you say, well, I can get this and I can do this. Well, what can I do as far as pulling in the community? And that's when we'll talk about a little bit of those constituents that we can help further on in the presentation. But you're going to be the key figures making the plans for Crossroads. Committees are going to need to be in place. They're going to have to look at the data, and we're going to have to look last year and say, did this program work? Maybe I can take money from this program and put it into this program, or how to twist your budget a little bit. The people that fall underneath them are your teachers, student performance, budgets, school performances within the district, and that's one thing that when we did our data and we looked at stuff, our students they're hitting high on that school performance on the STAR as well. And mainly, another big thing here is equity among diverse learners. We have different learners from point A to point B. We're teaching freshmen all the way to senior, and it's just, like this, but we're able to teach across that diversity field here at our campus. And so a lot of this it's going to lead us into how we're going to have to pull our parents into this. So teachers, they're over student performance, they're over servicing learning, and that's what we are. We're giving a service to the students, and I think most parents don't see it that way. They're like, they're going to get their education and they're going to get out the door. So, and then equity among diverse learners, and that's one thing. I put equity and safety on there twice, and I think anybody that's involved with students, that's what they're going to have to be involved with. The big part is parents. When you look at parents and students, those students that are here are going to be community members in the future. So if they graduate, are they going to go to college, or are they going to go to work at one of the local businesses that are here? So that's where we need to look at how are we engaging, our students, and do they have kids? Are those kids going to come back into the Coppers Cove ISD school district? Their kids. So how are we preparing our community for the future with our students that are going to be in the community with the upcoming year? And we can look at local places that already are in place, and I put a couple like school organizations, ATB, but our Exchange Club, they do things that go above and beyond when it comes to recognizing students. Businesses that employ our students, churches and that do outreach with our students. So there's those things that are already in place, and that if you really look right here, these people, everybody that owns a house here in Coppers Cove, those taxpayers pay school taxes and they're going to be involved. So if they know where their money's going to and they see that these people, these students that are out there are doing a good job, then you might have some taxpayers have a little bit more of a voice when it comes to the school. Involvements with doing student community outreach, and that could be adopt a highway out here on the side of, the street or something, or helping with the local police department, or little things like that where our students can engage but can come back to school and function. Student recognition, that's one thing that we look at when it comes to the Exchange Club. Can we recognize those students, not just for the ones that have shown where they've come from nothing to something, but recognizing those students just that are doing what they're supposed to do when it comes to education. And with that will be student community growth, and that's going to come into it. And they're going to be your future employees. So we want them to get their degrees. We want them to go out and get a job. That way we have revenue coming back into our community instead of unemployment and things in that nature. So now we look at the community and school engagements. It's kind of like, how do we take these constituents and put them over here and pull them together? I think I went backwards. No. So never forget, the key to our Crossroads success is our student success. We can be awesome teachers, but if we're not graduating these students and we're not getting these students out there, it's not worth anything. So the student success is really what makes us shine at Crossroads. And through teamwork and collaboration, we can take Crossroads to the next level when it comes to academics. And we've shown that already when we show our passing rate and when we look at our data. Our students are already there. A lot of these things are already in place. Is to take them and go further with it. So community and school engagement. And then I'm going to take you through the community outreach and a little bit of that. And then I'm going to give you some positive and negatives. That way you can say, okay, well, this will work, or this might not work. So that's what we really want to do, is to see how can we get student involvement, parent involvement in. So students will be involved in local organizations just to support community outreach. And that could be where they're doing literacy nights at other schools, or where the fire department comes in, or where are they going beyond the campus that's within our community. Exchange Club helps sponsor and support those. Adopt-a units. If we can take our adopt a unit that generally comes here during lunch and possibly do a Veterans Day or a Memorial Day or a flag raising or a ceremony that brings our unit in and exposes Crossroads to say, hey, our kids are going out and doing this. And what it's that connection to the community, it's that connection to our military. So school outreach that we can do here. We already do open house. That's one thing that we can do that's already implemented. Literacy events, but I really like the data events. When you can pull the parents in and show them this is where your student's at, this is where your student's going, and this is the data to show it. Yes, they're ready for college. No, they're not ready. And you can kind of talk to those parents in that nature. And that's when these kind of all go bundled together, parent-student conferences. And then when you can tell them, this is our federal programs. We do have programs for each of the students that are here that are the same as that are at the high school. They do get 504 services, special ed services, ELL services. But do those parents know how those services work? And so when we do our open house or when we have a monthly event, we can pull them in and say, this is how we work with them in the classroom. Not only from a special service coordinator's point of view, but from the teacher's point of view. How do you implement that 504 for my child? And they can let the parent know this is the support that I give them in the classroom. School support, and a lot of these are already in place where we can go in, newspaper articles showcasing our students, showing how they're doing things, whether it is activities that they've done around our school or beautification projects and stuff like that. How are we going beyond Crossroads for that? It's kind of like where we can put them in the newspaper if we're cleaning up the highway there or other things in that nature. Campus robocalls. Inform parents and guardians of school events. These are things that we can implement that are simple and then make them bigger. We don't want to overwhelm them, but at least they'll know, hey, on this night we're going to have a parent pizza night come in. We're going to talk to you about what's going on with your students, either here or at the DAP that's connected to us. Our interactive school website is consistently updated. I know that sometimes we put a website in there and we leave it, and then we don't go back and update that. So that'd be a main concern, is to keep that up. And that way we can send that link out to the parents and they can say, okay, well, this is what you got going on, or this is the services that you give our students. So a lot of this we already have in place. We just need to tweak it just a little bit. So guidance counselors, I really wanted this one to go in here because with our counselors, they know what the ins and outs of our students. And they could do phone conferences. Have a phone conference with that parent once a month or twice a month. Let them know the direction their student's going in. Let them know about their degree plan. Let them know what things we have in place. And when they do that, you watch your emails, you watch that stuff because you want to be careful that we don't cross HIPAA and give out information that doesn't need to be there. But these things are things that we can implement that are pretty easy. So here's our negative and our positive arch types. So limit to success means we have to move beyond the norm of the school. And so a lot of people think, if it's on the track, don't knock it off the track. Let's just keep it going, everything is good. But sometimes change is good. So that's where we're looking at growth and underinvestment. So what budgets do we have? What learning environment do we have? Are our facilities up to par? Our restrooms or our lunch rooms, our cafe, the learning environment of the students. The better the learning environment, the higher the data and the scores go. So do we have that in a budget? Or if we don't, how do we make a plan to take to the administrators and the school board to implement something in that nature? Fix the fail. We don't want to look up quick fixes. I know some people, here again, we fall, if we can get them out the door, we're good. And really that is the case with our students a lot of the times. But when we look at the bigger picture, it's like, what can we do to sustain them going out the door instead of just fixing the fail? Drifting the goal, we need to stay focused on the prize, and that means student engagement. Student engagement is our prize. Parent engagement is the bigger prize. When we're looking at that, safety and academic advances, if we can keep our goals set straight, then we're good to go. A lot of times we'll set a goal that's here when we can reach up here, and so we need to see if we can get above that level. Our positive arch types, and these are the ones I like because I don't like negative, but drifting goals, back to where we're looking at goals, everyone must stay on task in order for us to go ahead and advance as a school. Cooperative partners, everyone must work together. That means if we're working with parents, if we're working with someone in the community, whether it's cleaning up the local parks, whatever we're doing, everybody's got to be cooperative. Otherwise, you'll have somebody show up and somebody else doesn't, and the ball gets dropped, and then we're back to where we started at. Win-win, community engagements. If we can get our students involved in the community wins because it's outreach into the community. We win because it's outreach into the community. So it's one of those things that they go hand in hand. Our students are going to be our citizens in Coppers Cove in the near future. And if we can do that, that community involvement, closing that gap. Fixes that work. Focus on the root problem. If we know there's a problem in the direction that our students are going, or like for parent involvement, what can we do to put in something in place to make parent involvement grow? And it is hard because some of our students are already out of their homes, and they're, some may be homeless, some have different demographics where they already live by themselves or they have children. So that would be one of our fixes that work. We need to look at what the root problem is, and then get a committee and a team together and move towards that problem and see what we can do to fix that. And that takes us to the end of the presentation. Thank you. So I'll go hit stop real quick.